Hi, welcome back to the channel. You join me on a pretty sad day. This is my Renaultsport Megane. It's a 280 cup with a manual gearbox and no options, which is a bit of a rarity in its own right because most of them have loads of options. But it's a sad day because this car has been sold. It is going to a trader tomorrow against something new, which I'll announce at some point soon. Yeah, it's going. So why is it going? Basically, I need more space for the family. So what that means is 7 people don't fit into 5 seats. Apologies if you can hear cars going past. It was lovely and quiet here until a minute ago, and now everyone in North Yorkshire seems to have descended on this bit of road. So yeah, it's going for something eminently more boring, but this has been a brilliant car, and I'll tell you why. So it's not perfect, far from it. It's definitely got issues in terms of where the likes of Volkswagen, Audi, etc. wouldn't have issues, but what those issues give it is character. It's by far and away one of the most entertaining, fun cars I've ever owned, and I've owned quite a lot, about 30 odd cars in my lifetime. And this one just puts a big smile on my face every time I get in and drive it. It's quick enough. It's not the fastest thing ever, but it's certainly quick enough on most UKB roads. It stops, starts and steers brilliantly. Those Brembo brakes that come as part of a cup pack, and the limited slip differential, which obviously you won't be able to see from here because it's somewhere down there in the middle of the car, in between the gearbox and the diffs. This car steers and accelerates amazingly well. You do get a little bit of torque steer, but not as much as you'd think. Interestingly, in terms of torque steer, when I first bought this car about just under a year ago, I drove it away from the dealer I'd bought it from thinking, wow, this is a bit of a lively car. And it turned out that one of the front wheels was actually buckled. Not in a huge way, but buckled enough to affect the way it actually handled. So I thought it was a bit of a bucking Bronco, but in a way I thought that was more entertaining. Once I'd bought a new wheel and had that fitted, it just improved the car massively, and really started to make a lot more sense. Another thing that really made a difference, a lot of these Renaultsport Meganes come with, well, certainly from new, came with on the 18-inch wheels, they came with Continental Sport Contact 6 tyres, which are decent but not the best tyre in the world. And the cars with the 19-inch alloys came with Bridgestone Potenzas, if I recall correctly. I'm sure there'll be some geek somewhere in the comments who's going to correct me on that one. But what a lot of owners of these cars do is fit Michelin Pilot Sports. I went for Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, but there's 4Ss and Michelin Pilot Sport 5 that's just come out as well. And what these tyres do is just take the car to a whole new level, really, in terms of how it grips, and even in wet weather, the car's just so much more capable on these tyres. So yeah, I'm very sad to see it go. It's been a good car, and I've enjoyed it very much. What's softening the blow a little bit is that I've driven it around for nearly a year, put 10,000 miles on the clock, and I've sold it for more or less the same as what I bought it for. I think it's cost me something like £8 a month for the time I've owned it, if you ignore the usual running costs like insurance, petrol, and servicing. But the actual depreciation of the car is non-existent. That's helped a little bit with the market at the moment, but also I did get a good deal on the car when I bought it from the dealer that I bought it from. I'm not going to name them. So just a quick walk around the car in terms of what it's like inside, because I did this in my last video. No idea if you like it or not, because nobody's commenting. But if you do want to leave a comment, I'd love to know your thoughts on my videos, because I am looking to try and improve what I'm doing, the content. You may have just heard the stupid Renaultsport sound effect that comes on. That is switchable, you can turn it off, but my brother loves it, so I'll leave it on for the laugh more than anything. So you've got a proper manual handbrake, manual gearbox, very few driver aids. You've got some stability kind of ESP mode on there and a bit of traction control, but that's all fully switchable off, especially if you put it in race mode. Essentially you get a big orange light in the middle of the dash telling you that you are on your road, which definitely makes the car feel a lot more involving and very enjoyable. In terms of its driving position, another thing that gives it character, the driving position, put my finger over the camera there, sorry. You'll notice that when you sat in the dead ahead position, the dials actually sit a little bit to the right. And that's because when Renault converted the car from left-hand drive to right-hand drive, they obviously switched the dashboard over, but didn't bother to put enough R&D budget into locating the steering wheel in the right place. So actually, in the driver's seat, I'm sat directly level with the dials, but the steering wheel is mounted about an inch or so to the left. Now, day to day, I don't really notice it. I know other owners who do say they notice it, but it's not something that's particularly bothered me. And again, it all adds to the character of the car and makes it eminently more interesting than your normal Golf GTIs and Audi S3s and things like that. You've got plenty of USBs. You've got 2 there. You've got 2 in the decent sized glove box, although again in the conversion from left-hand drive to right-hand drive, they've not bothered to relocate the fuse box, so you lose half the glove box. I'm sure in France they get all the glove box, but you get 2 USBs and an auxiliary in there. I've never used them. God knows why you'd need 4 USBs in the front of a car. There's only 2 seats. You've got all your map reading lights and sun visors. You've got the black roof liner, which adds to the sportiness. And these seats are amongst the best car seats I've ever experienced. If you are a little bit more girthy, a bit wider in the derriere, then you're not going to enjoy these seats quite as much, because they are very figure hugging, very grippy. But I've had a couple of people sit in these seats and comment on how well suited they are to the car. And in the back seats, there's enough space for my kids. I've got 6-year-old twins and a 14-year-old daughter, and they all just about fit in there without any issues. My partner also has 2 daughters aged I think 12 and 9, and when we've just got them, again, they're fine. Not a huge amount of rear seat leg room and foot room, but the actual headroom and everything is all fine. And you've got a nice armrest there, which strangely none of the children seem to like, but it's all right. Got little door pockets here as well, so good storage, good practicality. One thing I do like about Renaults is that you never have to bother with actual fuel filler caps. You open the flap and it's all just there, ready to go. This car's only ever lived on super unleaded, and I average usually around 30 miles to the gallon. That's mixed driving, some kind of cruising on the motorway, some B-road kind of blasts. And then in the boot, this is the most impressive bit about the car actually, is that it's a very spacious boot, very practical, plenty of space in there for a week away if there's 4 of you. I mean, you get some storage underneath the boot floor as well. This big plastic shroud, by the way, that's where the exhaust sits. So in your normal bread and butter Meganes, you get like a spare wheel storage area there, but in the Renault Sports, that's all taken up by the very fruity sounding exhaust, which is switchable. It's got valves and all sorts of engineering stuff going on in there, which mean that it's nice and quiet when you want it to be, and you just put it in comfort mode and cruise along. But if you put it in sport or race, you get all the pops and bangs. And what I'll try and do, although I can't guarantee it, I'll try and splice in some footage of the engine just revving, so you can hear the noise that it makes. It's suitably antisocial. I am gutted to see it go, but it's for the right reasons. I've had the enjoyment of ownership, and I'm the sort of person where I tend to move on from car to car reasonably often. As well as part of my job, I get to drive lots of different cars anyway, so I'm always driving around in different things. And although I'll miss this car, there might be an opportunity to own another one in the future, or maybe try something new. There are various cars on my wish list that one day I'd like to own. And selling this and moving on to something else puts me on that road even further to owning something even more interesting than this. Maybe something that doesn't involve having to cart the kids around when we all get a little bit older. So as always, thanks for watching. I don't know how many of you actually are getting this far through the video, but the YouTube stats are not are not telling me many people are getting this far through the video. So if you've made it 10 minutes into this without switching off, then thank you for sticking with me. Please comment. I really could do with the feedback. I'd love to know if what I'm putting out is interesting or not interesting, or what you'd like to see, if you'd like me to focus on certain areas of cars, because I know how difficult it is when you're searching on YouTube. If you're thinking about making a car purchase, or you just want something entertaining to watch, you struggle to find, to do the right sort of searches. And I certainly want to, when I'm interested in buying a new car or a used car, I want to see certain things. I want to understand certain characteristics of the car, which not a lot of motoring journalists actually give you. And I'd like to be that person who does something a little bit more interesting, or something a little bit different. I don't know if interesting is the right word, because there are far better people on YouTube than me. But yeah, thanks for sticking with me, and hopefully I'll see you again soon when I present the car that's going to replace this.